I'd like to introduce you to certified legal nurse consultant Joyce Gerdes. Now, Joyce, you've been a certified legal nurse consultant since 2008. And you mentioned that there was a period, I think, right at the beginning when your husband was ill. And thinking back, you don't know what you would have done without being able to go into business for yourself as a certified legal nurse consultant. Can you expand on that just a little bit?
Yes, back in 2008, my husband had had a stroke before that, and I was having to cut down my hours more. And so my sister said, let's do this. And so we jumped in with both feet, and it was the saving grace of having an income because I wasn't working in the field as much. So this was a saving grace for me.
And what's great about that, it allowed you to be at home and be more available.
Absolutely. I could work at night. Once he was in bed and safe, then I was good to go. So it worked out perfect.
I know that you focus primarily on personal injury cases. What types of PI cases do you handle? Auto accident cases? What types?
Well, living in Arizona, yes, there's a lot of auto accident cases. And was a bus injury case where somebody got off the bus and the door closed before she was even off the bus. I had a motor vehicle with a horse of
Oh,
all things.
wow.
Yeah,
That's an interesting one.
that was very interesting when I got that one. That one was a fun case. I do motorcycle cases. I've done sexual assault. I've done product liability. So there's a lot of room for the CLNC in this program.
Yeah, absolutely. So much variety.
Oh,
And
it's
even within each
huge.
category, like within personal injury, you just gave a lot of great examples. So when you're working on these personal injury cases, can you talk about specifically what you're doing for these attorneys? What exactly are the services that you're providing to them?
At first, I thought the CLNC just did the medical review. However, over the course of my years and experience, it's not, that's just the basic part of it. I have attended litigations. I've attended IMEs, independent medical exams for the attorney. I have the biggest thing that one of my clients likes is when I do a personal interview with the actual client,
Mhm.
because sometimes you get a case and it's already a year past of what you've already put into the work. So that's one step that the CLNC really needs to focus on is tell the attorney what you can do and how.
And that's such a great comment because they don't always know what you can do, right?
Exactly.
And and the interview, I agree with you. No one on that litigation team knows the kinds of questions to ask a client, right?
Exactly.
The way a nurse would be able to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now I have my paralegals on board. And so when it comes to this, they'll go, Joyce, would you call and just do that interview? And it'd be surprising because a year later, they've been to more doctors, they've seen more specialists, they've have more pain. And you really want to get into the guts of it because some of them will say, well, I'm okay. They really mean I've adjusted, and you need to pull out what it is they've had to make adjustments for because of the accident.
Sure.
And so the attorneys are just, wow, this is great because they take that into the litigation with them and go, this person is not fine.
Yeah. And another excellent point, they may be okay, but their life is different. It's
Their
not
life
the
is
same.
so different,
That's right.
not only for them, but for their spouses, their
Mhm.
children. And I bring all of that into the attention also when I write my report.
So I know when you and I talked off camera, you had shared with me that you've been working with this one attorney for 15 years, and he'll say, "Hey, Joyce, I need you to work your magic." What
Yes. And
exactly does he mean when he says
well,
work your magic?
because of the years that I've worked with him, and I fed him when I first started, I fed him a little bit of extra information than what he wanted, but I would put in a graph. I would put in pictures when I do the report because they don't know what a normal physiological piece of that puzzle is. So I put the picture in and I put what the injury is. and I give them all of that information, because then they can visually see where the problems are that they have. And I've created my own template and everything for that. And I also give them a list of medical terminology, because the paralegals and a lot of the people who get that report have no idea. So he really likes that.
So working your magic is really helping that attorney to see the case visually
Yes,
and to understand every aspect of that
to
case.
understand it all and where it all comes from. And you really have to know and tell that attorney, this is what you need. These are the records that you're missing, and this is vital to your case.
You've had as many as 8 cases at the same time. When that's happening, what kind of strategies do you employ to manage that caseload?
I ask each paralegal, how important is this and how soon do you need it done? And that's where I begin with that. I also keep a tickler file so that when I have done the preliminary to the report, I know what records are missing. So then I can contact them and say, did these records come in? Again, you're procuring more work for yourself, because once they come in, they want you to add them and update your records.
Right. So the key starts with communication. First, communicating with the
Absolutely,
attorney
absolutely.
about deadlines.
Yes,
Second, communicating with yourself about communicating back and forth with the law.
exactly. And
Yeah,
all of them are probably not active at the same time. They're in
sure.
different various stages. So you really have to know where you're at, and your paralegal is vital.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I want to also stress, because I think you're bringing up a really good point. When you're working on 8 cases at a time, as you suggest, things are happening at different intervals, and they're not all at the same stage necessarily.
Correct.
But this is one of the reasons why I think being self-motivated and being disciplined is so important, because if, for example, maybe you don't have a hardcore deadline today, it doesn't mean, oh, I don't have to worry about anything. This
Exactly.
is when you want to get in and jump ahead
Yes.
on the cases that you can jump ahead on, because, I always say I wake up with a plan and by 9 a.m. it's busted. You may think you have tomorrow to work on that case, and then tomorrow
And
it's
then
something wrong.
something else will come in, or he'll call on a case that has been worked on and say, look, I need this information put in now. It's
Right,
like, okay, and with all the attorneys, it's now, if not sooner, if
right.
not yesterday.
So that's an important management strategy for sure.
Yes, it is.
Now, I know that you also do presentations for both attorneys and paralegals, and I think it's a great way to stay in touch with attorneys and paralegals. It's a great way to retie connections. It's even a great way to market your business to new attorneys. So can you expand on that and what you do, and any recommendations you have for other certified legal nurse consultants?
One thing I really like to do, I like to teach, and I think that's innate in most nurses, because that's what we do a lot of. And so I ask them, what is lacking in your area? What would you like your paralegals to know more about? Or I offer them suggestions, and I might be jumping ahead on this, but I offer them the opportunity for me to do a presentation during a lunch hour for them. They've often jumped on that.
And would you say this benefits you? In other words, does it get you business with new attorneys or repeat business with an existing attorney client?
It gets me repeat business, and it also gets the paralegal going, well, maybe she can do this for me. Maybe
Okay.
she can do that for me.
Joyce, how is being an independent consultant different than working inside of a healthcare system as an employee?
It is night and day, because I make my own hours. I work when I want to, and I don't have the politics. And I set my own standards, which are quite high,
Mhm.
but that's what the attorney expects, and they know that your work ethic is great and above most of the people that they work with, and that'll get you business.
And it does sound like you get a lot of repeat business. Is
I
that
do.
correct?
I do. I have about 4 attorneys now that I work mainly with, because by rights I should be retired, but I don't want to retire.
I don't blame you. I
No.
completely appreciate that.
Yes.
It keeps
I've
your
never had a
mind.
job where I was like, I don't want to retire. This is just too much fun.
Joyce, what is your definition of success?
My definition of success is being able to retire, but not wanting to.
I love it.
Exactly. And they always ask, what is your elevator speech? Mine is, I'm the CSI of the medical record. And they go, what do you mean? And I'm comprehensive streamlining of information. So that's what I tell them. I take all your information and put it together. But success is definitely doing what you want to do and enjoying it and being successful at it. And it has changed my confidence level, because I think if I'm successful, I am.
Yeah.
So you have to believe in what you do, and you have to promote your value.
That's a great definition of success. And so since your definition of success is being able to retire, but never wanting to retire, I wish for you that you never retire.
I
And
hope I can do this a long time.
great
I enjoy
success to
it,
you.
and I would
thank
love to
you.
do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.